You know, in doing this hobby, sometimes things surprise me. A little more than a year ago, I was surprised by a handheld called the BatleXP G350 that came out of nowhere and really was connected to no one that had heard of. But the handheld surprised with its build quality and pretty much was quickly connected to possibly being made by AYRJGF. While AYRJGF has never formally admitted this, there's been evidence since then that that brand is a sub-brand that they've launched that they just don't want to be admitted to. Well, today we're going to take a look at another handheld that is really surprising me and making me wonder if we're seeing a similar situation. One from a different company, not AYRJGF, but possibly Mangmi or Ayaneo. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. But let's take a look at the Miniloong Pocket 1, an item that has really surprised me in many ways. All right, so as always, we'll start with the box. And the box here is nice. You can see it has a nice texture to it with a picture of the Miniloong. Is that how you say it? Miniloong? Miniloong love time, whatever. Anyways, it has a nice look to it, a nice feel to it. It doesn't feel cheap. On the side here, we do have an image of it from the side showing its thin profile. Moving to this side of the box, and it has the name, and then on the other side the name as well. And then finally we do show those replaceable D-pads. On the bottom there's not a lot there, in fact there's nothing. And then there is a sticker indicating the retro color that we got, so we did get the retro color here as I get the camera to focus. So it comes in retro and white, but let's get this box open. And this is a 4-inch screen, so not a big box, which doesn't surprise me. And the first thing we have is a card. Oh, and this looks premium. You know, we've been seeing cards like this in a lot of the premium handhelds we've been getting. And so this actually evokes that same sort of premium spirit. Now, this thing launched in China at an equivalent of about $42. Now, with the AliExpress and import tax and tariffs, which today was just overruled, you know, you may be looking at 60, but still for a Rockchip 3566, not bad. I think I paid somewhere around $65, $70 for this. But we do have a nice card there. It kind of shows that. We have a certificate of authenticity and quality, kind of show that we were able to have that checked out. Of course, we have a nice foam protector here. And then the only other thing in the box is our USB cord, our USB-C to A cord. Now, a little disappointed because with the replaceable D-pad, I thought maybe we would have that in there as well as possibly a screen protector, but that's okay. This is still a nice premium box for a premium looking handheld, which is surprising. It makes me wonder really who is behind this handheld because they've come out swinging from the gate, but I want to get my hands on it and find out because it looks great in pictures. But of course, actually holding it is the first thing. So let's get started with that and open it up, get it out, and take a hands-on look. Okay, and here it is. And I've got to say that this is gorgeous. First hands-on, I'm immediately impressed with the build quality of this. Holding this in my hand, it feels great. And the first thing I want to try is these plates. So there is a thin magnetic top to it, which can be removed here. You can see I'll take it off. And the idea behind this is that they're going to sell additional ones to give it different colors and customize it, which I think is a fantastic idea and a lot of fun for a handheld. This is just a see-through one. It is pretty solid. It's not flimsy, but it magnetically attaches on and comes on and off, which I think is really wonderful. And it just goes on so easily back and forth. I like the use of magnets. I like the idea that there will be additional plates to buy and put on this thing. That's really exciting for the future. So looking forward to that. But not stopping there with the replaceability of parts. We do have the D-pad, which comes off. And you can see here, it does have a little section, if I can get it to focus. It does have a little design there where you can push it in. Now, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get the additional D-pads, but it has a nice satisfying sound when you put it back in. It makes a little bit of a click. You just have to give it a little bit of pressure. It did take a second for me to get this back in once I popped it off, because there is a certain direction that it has to go. But once you get it lined up, you'll feel it, and then you can snap it in. And I wish it was more of the Mangmi type situation, but at this price point, I don't think anybody would expect that. This is just a simple sort of push and snap sort of situation. Now, the box did not include the additional ones, so I definitely would like to seen that in there. And as you can see, I am having a little trouble getting this. There we go. Getting this in here. But once you get it in there, it stays in there pretty good. It's pretty stable. And so it's just a matter of lining it up. There's only one way that this thing will actually line up to be put on. And so just know that it's not 100% just easy, but it does click in and make a noise once you get it lined up with the right one. Now, we also have the stick, and this is the sticks that we've liked for quite a while. We've been a big fan of these sticks since Magic X and Retroid have used these, but they do pop off, and they do have that same connector that we've been seeing in many other handhelds. As I show you here, I did try this with some of the other toppers, including the Retroid Yellow. Yellow didn't really look right for this design or look, but also the Portal sticks, which are larger. I did like the way those fit on there. Speaking of the controls, as always, let's start with these controls, and we'll do a little testing here. And these buttons are, oh, the buttons feel really nice. They have a sort of coating around them, and they're independent, and they have a good travel distance. So no issues there with that. I think they feel good in the hand. They're not really loud. I can't tell if they're membrane. I think they're membrane. They're not micro switches. And they have a good separation to them. They're labeled clearly, and I like them overall. The D-pad, again, as I show you, this D-pad, the one that it comes with, is more of a traditional D-pad. I'm sorry, more of the Sega style D-pad, which I like a lot. It rocks well. It has a nice texture to it. It's not slick like on the Mangmi Pocket, the Mangmi Air X, which was a little slick. I didn't like that so much, but this feels nice to the touch. And then, of course, the single stick. This is a Rockchip 3566. It can play Miniloong, can play PSP, which is great with one stick, but really it's not going to play anything where two sticks would be perfect anyway. So I think one stick is fine with it. Moving on, and let's try these shoulder buttons. And these shoulder buttons are equally impressive. Now, they're digital. There's no analog here. When I tried to play Crazy Taxi, I couldn't get it to work on Dreamcast. So these are digital, no analog, which is a little bit of a shame, but they feel nice. They are stacked. They're not inline, they're stacked, which most people like. They do have a little bit of protrusion, so for pocketability, it will affect that a little bit, although you can take that off and make it even more thinner. And we do have those nice thin sort of Magic X sticks. Moving and looking around this thing, because it's a Rockchip 3566, we do get an HDMI port, which is exciting. Now, we've seen a lot of companies, especially in the higher-end Android, move away from that because they're using USB out. But I like that this has the mini HDMI, which is really good, along with Bluetooth for plugging this into a TV and using it as a console. On the top, we have the power button. We have a plus and minus for our volume rocker, the HDMI switch, a USB power port on the top, or it's actually OTG on the top, and then a reset button. Moving around the sides, and we don't have anything on either side of it, so there's no there, which is good for ergonomics. And then on the bottom we have two, which is really interesting and great because this is Linux based. We have two SD card slots, which I love, along with a USB-C port in the center, which is for power, and we have a headphone jack. So this is probably or possibly dockable, especially with this HDMI on top, which I think is a great solution. We do have a start and select button, and those are a little bit loud, and then we have this menu button, and the menu button's very quiet. And then we have this unique little design for the grill here for the speaker. Now it does have a single front firing speaker, but I like the design. I like what they did here with this. I like the way it looks. I think it's pretty nice looking overall. This is a 4-inch screen. It's got the same resolution as the screen that we first saw in the AYRJGF 406 line. I love that screen. I think it's a beautiful screen for retro gaming. It's a 4:3 screen, so this has that same beautiful screen. I love it. This has got a small form factor. I would say it's somewhat pocketable, but it has that nice large 4-inch screen, no more 640 by 43.5-inch screen. And I am very impressed with the hardware out here. On the back, we have some nice humps that are ergonomic with some grippy texture on it, which are pretty nice. This has a nice, comfortable form factor to hold. It doesn't feel cheap. It feels really nice, including this removable top. That doesn't feel cheap at all. At $42 or around $45 in China, this is a very big bargain. If this had come out 2 years ago, oh my God, this would have been winning awards, I think. I'm getting the same feeling I got with the BatleXP, the G350. This feels like it's made by somebody that makes better handhelds. Now, there has been rumors that this is somehow connected to Mangmi. I don't know. Or maybe Ayaneo is sneaking this out. Who knows? I just know that it feels good. In fact, let me show it here next to the Ayaneo Pocket Air Mini. And as you see here, the two side by side, they have a lot of similarities. And holding both of them feel very similar in form factor, quality. The color scheme is similar. So it makes you go, makes you kind of wonder. And then I'll show you here next to the Trimui Brick Smart Pro S, what it looks like next to that one as well, the other horizontal. And yeah, but let's get this thing booted up because I want to talk about this OS. It has something called the I Love You Miniloong OS, which is Linux based, but it's a little different, and I found it to be quite awesome. So let's get this thing fired up and check it out. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to take a moment to talk about an awesome speaker. This AGM Magrock portable Bluetooth speaker that is IP67 waterproof, drop proof, and dust proof. Using Bluetooth, you can use this speaker just about anywhere. It also has a vibrant RGB light show to give it that nice effect that you look for. Best of all, this thing has a magnetic attachment design. And as you can see here, I use this to make my handheld sound glorious. Oh my God, my RG477M has never sounded better. Yes, that's right. This is small, pocketable, portable, and best of all, it comes in at under $50. You can pick one of these up for yourself by hitting the link in the description below. We want to thank Amazon for sending this over and having us take a look at it. Again, this is the AGM Magrock portable Bluetooth speaker, which could be a very good companion to all of your precious handhelds. Back to the show. All right, so getting this thing booted up because it is Linux based. It's a Rockchip 3566. Now, because it is a Rockchip 3566, it does have the possibility of Android as well. So this is very interesting, but you have a nice little boot logo with the Loong OS as it boots up here. And it has a nice logo to it, a nice look to it. You have some little eyes that sort of peek to you. And then you boot into a sort of system that looks somewhat basic but simple to use. Now, this did ship with no games, but what the magic was, I loaded a card from another Linux handheld and didn't format the card. It's just another card of another handheld, not even a 3566, the Trimui Smart Pro S. I put the card in here, and this thing just on its own read the card and then it loaded in the games and sorted them. So they have some kind of nice little software solution going on here. You even get to give it a name. You can see I've got Dead Fred up there in the corner. It asked me to name it, so you got to get a little name on there with the date and time. Moving through the software, it's pretty straightforward. Each little box shows the system that you have that it detected games for, and then you go into a menu that has them in a list along with a place for the box art to scrape with that. Now, this does have built-in Wi-Fi. Setting up Wi-Fi is pretty nice. One of the things that I really like about this is their software solution. So going into the menu here, the first thing you have is you have a game setting. And if you go to game menu, you can put it on simple menu, which is some of those menus we've seen in those cheaper handhelds that were frustrated us. Or you can go into the original menu and have the full Retroarch support. Now, I decided to do a majority of this with the simple menu to test it out and see what it's like. And I've got to report back that this is nice and well thought out. As you can see here, playing games, you can go in and you're able to change things like aspect ratio. You're able to change shaders on this thing and pick from some pre-selected shaders along with some other options, which makes this pretty cool. They even have overlays pre-built in, some of them specifically like the Gameboy, which is a Miniloong boy or whatever that says down there. Moving on, you got the display, which has brightness and auto lock. You got Wi-Fi where you can go in and it connected to my Wi-Fi pretty quickly. I didn't have any issues connecting to Wi-Fi. Bluetooth, which is really nice to have. The date and time where you can set the time zone, the format, the date. Your input where you can test the keys, joystick calibration. Your sound where you can check the sounds. You can give individual sounds to different functions. You can change the vibration. This thing has pretty good vibration on it, by the way. You can go to the light and change the ambient light. So for the stick, you can have it do rainbow, breathe light. You can do custom colors or use colors. The language, it has support already for a bunch of languages. English is right there at the top and easy to find. On the custom, you can choose the custom color, the device name. This is where you can put your device name in there that'll display at the top. So this is the only sort of theming that they have right now that you can do, but maybe they'll develop this over time and give us more theming options. You can reset and clear it, factory reset, and then the device info, which does have a firmware version. Now, they already have an update. So out of the box, it offered me an update that was on February 11th. So the version I had was from January. So they've already done an update. So it looks like they're going to keep doing it. And then it shows you this is a Rockchip 3566. And then you have power. So this Loong OS is nice. I like it quite a bit. It reminds me of something that has been worked on for quite a while. It's similar in nature to what AYRJGF has done with their Linux-based sort of software. I think this is a good one. At the top, you do have a section for your favorites. You have a section for types where it tries to type if it's got metadata on what type of game it is. You can go to your recents, and then you can go to apps. And they even, with the update, they added Willy Willy, which is like the YouTube of China. There's also a game 2048. You can do videos, you can do music, or going to Retroarch. It is a nice software solution, one that I like and I think is pretty good. Now, playing through games on this, the experience I got with the Rockchip 3566 is what I would have expected. There's no surprises here. I was able to boot in and play Dreamcast with some games playing better than others. Something like Crazy Taxi is not going to play because you don't have the analog triggers unless you finagle with it or use some sort of way to drive it. A fighting game on the Dreamcast worked pretty good. In fact, this D-pad did some Hadokens, Shurikens really fine, so I had no issues with that either. This is a sharp, beautiful screen. I forgot how great this screen is. Playing something like Gameboy looks fantastic on this thing, especially with the shaders and how you can quickly, through their software solution, go in and pick a shader and change it. It's managing RetroArch for you is all it's doing, but this is fabulous for beginners and everything like that. I really have enjoyed playing on this. I got N64 to play some. So the 3566 can do some things, but I would love to see this with something more powerful, something like a T620 or maybe the 3576 that they're going to have in the Vita Pro. I would love to see that. Whoever made this, I want to see more. I've got to say I'm very impressed with this handheld. It is really, really nice. It has blown me away how nice it is. Not just the hardware, the software. This is not software that was thrown together and slopped out. This is nicely polished software, not overly fancy. It works. It's great. I like it. We have the 2 SD cards, and it even sounds good, even though there's one speaker. Overall, let me sum up my summary of this unboxing and first impressions. I am pretty much floored by this device. This device came out of nowhere and is presenting a nice, thin package that feels premium. It feels as good as the Ayaneo Pocket Air Mini in quality. It's got hardware that's great. You can swap out the D-pads. It's got plates that you can put to customize. It's got the better type of stick with the removable toppers on it. It's got a Rockchip 3566, while tired and old, does have HDMI out, allowing you to play on that. It also has the ability, and hopefully, if you're listening, whoever made this, Miniloong, send one to Gamma, get Android on this thing, because I think it would be really nice. Now, there's no touch screen, so of course, Android would not be great for certain things, but Gamma does have a version of Android that is tweaked for Android TV that works better with non-touch screens, like the Mini 028. So it is possible. Overall, it's got a sharp screen. It's got a nice design to it. It feels good to hold. It feels nice. It's a shame this couldn't have come out a year ago or 2 years ago. It would have really blown out. There's just so many good handhelds now, and I don't think that I would pick this over the Ayaneo Pocket Air Mini, because that has a touchscreen and a CPU that's going to do a lot more than this. However, this is half the cost. You're probably going to find the Ayaneo Pocket Air Mini still around $100. You can get this for about 55 to 60, so it's pretty nice. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on this. It is quite impressive. I was surprised to find that it was as good as it is. I really didn't expect that this would be blowing me away. I thought it might be good, but it's actually impressed me. I'm sure there are probably problems with it. There may be things on here I haven't tested deep. I don't know if it's running right at 60 hertz. I don't know if there's some sort of flaw in the screen. I haven't deep tested it. So I'm just saying, from a basic consumer standpoint, of something that just works, feels good to hold, looks good, this is what it is. I got to say, I'm impressed. I'm looking forward to see more from this company. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. What do you think of the I love you, Miniloong? Okay, I'll stop with that. Enough of that. But let me know what you think in the comments. As always, remember to hug your loved ones and love your hugged ones, because tomorrow is never promised. We'll see you next time, Deadheads. Def Red out.